Welcome to a thought-provoking video series that delves into the complexities and shadows of the democratic system. We invite you on a journey where few dare to tread. Here we will expose the flaws, vulnerabilities and the darker aspects often overlooked in our celebration of democracy. This series is not for the faint-hearted, for it reveals the uncomfortable truths lurking beneath the surface. From tales of corruption and manipulation to the gradual erosion of freedoms, each episode uncovers the challenges and paradoxes that lie within the world's most celebrated political framework. So, brace yourselves, challenge your assumptions, and prepare to embark on a journey through the murky waters where democracy's idealism clashes with reality. Welcome to the dark side of democracy. Our narrative begins with a significant event that fiercely shook the societal fabric of America in the late 1700s. It was a turning point, a period that birthed a crucial chapter in the annals of American history, born out of desperation, courage, and an unshakable will to challenge the status quo. The catalyst of this critical juncture was none other than a man who, despite being unsung, wielded immense power of conviction and courage. His name was Gabriel Prosser, a name that might not echo extensively through the corridors of mainstream history, but his actions had set in motion a series of events that would forever alter the trajectory of a nation. Prosser was an enslaved African American, a man who found himself shackled not just by physical chains, but by the omnipresent systemic oppression that held him and his kind captive. Yet Prosser was not a man to be cowed down easily. He was a beacon of resistance against the prevailing norms, a man who dared to dream of freedom and, more importantly, dared to act on it. Prosser plotted an audacious rebellion. He devised a daring plan, a plan that was as brave as it was risky, a plan that pushed boundaries and rattled the foundations of a supposedly free nation. His was a gutsy rebellion that boldly challenged the existing power structures and exposed the glaring contradictions of a nation that prided itself on its ideals of liberty and justice. Speaking of this nation, one cannot but marvel at the paradox that was America. It was a nation that was vibrant, full of potential, and had just risen like a phoenix from the ashes of the Revolutionary War. It was a nation poised on the brink of a new era, ready to claim its place on the global stage, ready to establish itself as a beacon of promise amidst a sea of nations. The United States of America was founded on the lofty ideals of freedom and equality. These were principles that were enshrined in the country's founding documents, principles that aimed to establish justice, promote tranquility, and secure the blessings of liberty for its citizens. The ideals of freedom and equality echoed in the Declaration of Independence. However, beneath the surface of these grand proclamations lay a grim reality. This was also a nation that was largely built upon the cruel and unjust institution of slavery. The labor that formed the foundation of this thriving nation was far from free. It was forged from the toil and pain of enslaved men, women, and children. A grim truth that remained largely unspoken, swept under the rug in the grand narrative of progress and prosperity. Slavery was a dark stain on the otherwise bright canvas of America's promise. It was a brutal institution that had deeply embedded itself in the fabric of society, an institution that contradicted the very ideals that the nation was founded upon. The United States of the late 1700s and early 1800s prided itself on its democratic virtues, serving as a model of democracy for the world. However, despite these democratic virtues, basic human rights were denied to a substantial segment of its people. Women, slaves, and indigenous people were sidelined in the democratic pursuits that formed the backbone of this society. This exclusion was not just political, but seeped into social, economic, and personal spaces. It created a stark divide within a society that professed to advocate equality and justice for all. This period was a time of great change and upheaval, a time where the nation grappled with the complexities of its identity and its place in the world. This was America in 1799, a nation poised on the brink of a new era. This was the America that inspired Gabriel Prosser's daring rebellion. His story is indeed a poignant reminder of the contradiction within America's pursuit of freedom. His boldness reflects the frustration and desperation of those whose freedom was denied despite the nation's ideals. His actions are a testament to the harsh realities faced by many during that time. The America that inspired what almost became her largest and most daring rebellion ever. As America grappled with its own contradictions, another key figure emerged on the political landscape, one who would play an instrumental role in shaping the nation's future. His name was Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson, a statesman and a visionary, was the US Minister of France from 1785 to 1789. Jefferson was supporter of the French Revolution, although he wavered during the most violent and bloody stages. A revolution led by blacks in Saint-Domingue, Haiti, proved to be a crucible for testing the Jeffersonian right of revolution. Jefferson did not applaud the successful revolt. Jefferson's solution for rebel slave and convicts were to relocate them to the new nations. As the Secretary of State during George Washington's presidency, Jefferson played a vital role in the Franco-American alliance. However, Jefferson's relationship with France was not without its critics. His support for the French Revolution and his advocacy for a closer alliance with France were seen by some as a threat to America's own stability. Yet despite the controversy, Jefferson's relationship with France had a profound impact on American politics. It shaped the nation's foreign policy, influenced its political discourse, and played a crucial role in the unfolding of America's early history. Jefferson's relationship with France was a pivotal factor in the nation's development, a relationship that would leave an indelible mark on the course of American history. Jefferson's relationship with France served as a testament to the complexities of the nation's early years. As the turn of the century approached, America found itself on the cusp of a pivotal moment in its history, the 1800 election. This election was more than just a political contest, it was a turning point, marking the peaceful transition of power from one political party to another. It was a testament to the resilience of America's democratic ideals, a beacon of hope in a world still grappling with the concept of democracy. The election was a fierce contest, marked by intense rivalry between the Federalists, led by incumbent President John Adams, and the Democratic Republicans, led by Thomas Jefferson. The two parties were starkly different in their visions for America, with the Federalists advocating for a strong central government and the Democratic Republicans championing states' rights. The stage was set for a fierce political battle, one that would shape the future of the nation. The role of the Electoral College in the 1800 election was crucial. This was a time when the Electoral College votes were not divided between the president and vice president, but rather the candidate with the most votes became president and the runner-up became vice president. This system, though fraught with potential complications, was an integral part of the election process. The significance of Jefferson's victory cannot be overstated. His triumph marked the first peaceful transition of power from one political party to another. It was a momentous occasion, a testament to the strength of America's democratic system. Jefferson's victory was a victory for the Democratic Republicans, but more importantly, it was a victory for the ideals of democracy itself. As we delve deeper into the complexities of America's early years, the 1800 election serves as a reminder of the nation's commitment to democracy, a commitment that would be tested time and again in the years to come. Our journey through the early history of America takes a detour as we spotlight a key figure from the 1800 election, Aaron Burr. A prominent player in the political arena, Burr's path was strewn with controversy and legal battles. His actions and choices would not only impact his own life, but also cast long shadows on the fledgling nation's political landscape. Burr, despite his significant role in the 1800 election as Thomas Jefferson's running mate, is perhaps best remembered for his duel with Alexander Hamilton. This infamous encounter in 1804 spiraled from a personal dispute into a fatal showdown, ending with Hamilton's death and Burr's reputation forever tarnished. The duel, while legal, was steeped in controversy. It painted Burr in a negative light, turning public opinion against him. Burr's legal woes didn't stop there. He found himself on trial for treason, accused of plotting to create an independent country in the southwestern territories of the United States. Burr was arrested and tried. The trial was a spectacle, putting the spotlight on the country's legal system and raising questions about the definition of treason. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, Burr's political career was irreparably damaged. Burr's legal troubles marked a dramatic chapter in America's early political history. They served as a stark reminder of the high stakes in the political arena, where personal conflicts could escalate into national controversies and ambitions could lead to accusations of treason. As we traverse the timeline of early America, Gabriel's ability to garner support of what many say were almost 2,000 men despite the risks involved speaks of his leadership qualities. The whispers of Frenchmen possibly assisting him highlights the interconnectedness of global struggles for freedom during that era. Gabriel was a man who, despite his physical chains, was intellectually free. His literacy was not just a means of communication or a personal achievement, it became a glimmering symbol of the potential for a life beyond servitude. It ignited his insatiable desire for freedom, fueling his audacious dreams of liberation from the shackles of slavery. Gabriel yearned for a life where he could be his own master, where he could dictate his own destiny. But he knew that he could not do this alone. He began to rally comrades, fellow enslaved individuals who were disillusioned and disheartened with their destinies. These were individuals who, like Gabriel, harbored dreams of freedom. Together they formed a united front, a collective force driven by a shared goal. They planned a rebellion, a daring and unprecedented attempt to overthrow their masters and claim the freedom that was rightfully theirs. At the heart of their rebellion was to seize the armory building and the weapons within, then an attack on the governor's mansion in Richmond, Virginia. Their objective was not just to overthrow, but to turn it into their stronghold of liberation. They plotted their audacious assault in secret, their clandestine meetings shrouded in the cloak of night, their audacious plans whispered in hushed tones. The darkness became their ally as they meticulously planned their uprising, each man knowing the gravity of what they were about to undertake. However, the harsh realities of the era they lived in were unforgiving. Betrayal is a bitter pill to swallow, especially when it comes from within the ranks of those whom supposedly are fighting for freedom alongside you. Despite the careful planning for 2 enslaved men within Gabriel's camp, the fear of discovery overpowered their resolve. They informed their masters of the rebellion's plot, and in doing so undoubtedly dissolved all that Gabriel so rigorously planned. The response of the authorities was swift and brutal, a stark reminder of the power structures in place at the time. Gabriel's conspiracy had far-reaching consequences during the 1800 presidential campaign. The event became a focal point for debates over the French Revolution and democratic ideals, with Federalists using it to criticize the Democratic Republicans. The aftermath of the rebellion led to intense scrutiny and discomfort among Virginia's leaders, like Jefferson, who expressed concerns about the severity of the executions. Despite calls for restraint, Virginia's lawmakers imposed new restrictions on slaves and free blacks, tightening control over the enslaved population. Gabriel and his comrades were captured, tried, and ultimately executed. Their dreams of freedom and the possession of the governor's mansion were heartlessly snuffed out. By 1812, the contradictions of American society had become glaringly apparent. The nation was in a state of flux, growing economically and politically, yet wrestling with its inherent moral conflicts. This disparity was striking, creating a rift between declared ideals and actual behavior. During these years, America was finding its footing socially. The harsh realities of slavery were becoming increasingly pronounced, prompting the beginning of resistance movements. This period was filled with contradictions, as America endeavored to align its lofty ideals with its stark realities. By studying our past, we attain a richer understanding of our present, and with this knowledge we can work towards a brighter future. The echoes of this period reverberate even today, reminding us of the struggles that have shaped the nation. As we delve into the past, we gain a deeper understanding of the present, and hopefully a clearer vision of the future. Enjoying our content? Show some love by hitting the like button and subscribing for more. Your support fuels our passion. Join our community today and never miss out on exciting new videos. Thank you for tuning into another episode of The Dark Side of Democracy.